But Captain Alok Bansal, Director India Foundation, is joining us. Alok ji, namaste. This is now becoming endemic. Wherever we are seeing these people who enter in here, pose as teachers, madrasas, masjids mushrooming, unchecked, a lot of them illegal, and some of them acting as hubs and havens for terrorists to come into the country.
See, there is no
Along
doubt
with the radicalization and indoctrination which is happening, Alok ji. Yeah, please.
See, this is what I've been saying earlier also, Anand, is that there is a huge amount of radicalization which is going on. And as a result, and the ideal medium for this radicalization is these madaris or so-called Islamic schools where this is being indoctrinated. So most of the teachers, students, etc. Teachers are the conduits and the students are being indoctrinated. And as I said, we need to keep a watch on it. But it is virtually impossible for the state agencies to keep a watch on all the madaris that exist in this school. We need to actually get onto the narrative that they are circulating and try and counter that narrative, because keeping a tab on each and every suspect may not be feasible. While security agencies have done a wonderful job by apprehending terrorists across length and breadth of India, but eventually they may fail sometimes and one odd person might get away. So we need to have a greater centralized mechanism for controlling this sort of radicalization and terrorism. We need to watch every single madaris, keep a tab on the curriculum that is being followed there. I think all state governments need to bring these madaris under some sort of control, some sort of monitoring. Their curriculum needs to be restructured so that modern subjects are taught along with the religious subjects, so that the products of these madaris are not only fit to become terrorists or radicalized youth, but can also be absorbed into a normal lifestyle.
No, but isn't it the religious instruction, the kind of religious instruction that needs to be monitored? Because it's not just about modern education, it's about this kind of instruction, and if the instruction borders on indoctrination, then should there be a big question that should be erased? Because Assam right now has shut down all the state-run madrasas, and they've also now got an SOP in place in terms of who you appoint as an imam, who you appoint as a madrasa teacher or an instructor. Because it's what they're instructing is the issue. The religious instruction, if it goes beyond theology into indoctrination, that's where we have a problem, Alokji.
Undoubtedly. See, this is what I have been saying very often, is that this narrative which they are generating, this indoctrination which is taking place, we need to counter it. We need to understand how this takes place. This indoctrination is subtle but definitive. What do? They have created a narrative which selectively quotes from their religious texts and religious beliefs, and then indoctrinates the student or the target into following the diktats of those who want to use them. So we have to counter it. Now the countering it can only be done by creating a counter narrative and propagating it, so that the youth are already immune to this sort of a narrative or this sort of indoctrination. And for that, we need to structure, we need to work out at the highest level and create a counter narrative by quoting from religious texts, so that the target youth are already aware that what is going to come to them, and they are actually immune to this sort of indoctrination. Now, of course, besides that, state governments need to monitor what is being taught in the madaris. That is, of course, need to be done, and I think all state governments need to do that.
Right. Alokji, I'm just going to check if Preeti is still there. And Preeti, what kind of steps have been, countermeasures have been put in place? One. Secondly, what kind of material has been found in the possession of these people? How many children was this madrasa teacher, Hafizur Rahman, teaching? And what was he teaching them?
Yes, first of all, about the steps taken by the government already, they have, the Chief Minister of the state has stated about making a proper kind of a portal where they will be giving out the SOPs, where how the imams working in these masjids have to register, how they will be cross-checked by the local police, and then they will be able to work. Such kind of things will be placed. But today, while we talk to the Chief Minister, he also stated that it will take some time because they will have to do it in a proper way. So definitely they have started the process very slowly, but no survey as of now has been done, because first of all he said that there needs to be a survey done, and after that they will be going on for the SOPs for the imams and the madrasa teachers. And regarding the teachings that has been provided in these madrasas, I have to tell you, Anand, that there are certain contents that have been found in the entire all these modules, all similar kind of have, we can say, the teachings, and the teachings have been founded. Certain booklets have been found, certain leaflets saying about jihad, and also saying about how to die for jihad. Such kind of things are also there, and the entire modules state that such kind of inducing such kind of dark jihad kind of contents have been found from everywhere. And as we talk to the Goalpara ST, he also stated that the findings are quite similar in all the modules from the
Right.
imams to the madrasa teachers. They have been trying to induce such kind of elements where they teach the students to die in the name of jihad. So those are the contents they are teaching. And why we talk to the students there? Because as you remember, we were there for the ground report in Goalpara. When we tried to talk with the locals there and the students and the children there reading in the madrasas, we were earlier a part of the madrasa. While we asked them what they want to be in their life, or what are their ambitions, they all had one thing to say: they wanted to be either imam or a madrasa teacher. So this
Right.
is going on a thread. You can see it is a thread that is linked up, and they try to inculcate such things that the students particularly think about the dark side of the religion, and go towards inculcating jihad and finishing sacrificing themselves for the cause of
No,
the religion
it's not just who, it's the kind of instruction and the method of the instruction, what is being instructed. That's where now how are we going to scrutinize that? Preeti, thank you for your inputs. Alok ji, quick comment before we move on to the other big development here on the Nation at 5. But how do we stop this aspect of indoctrination via instruction? And it's not easy to pinpoint. More importantly, these people all seem to have come into India illegally, now have valid papers and claim to be Indian citizens, but clearly they are not.
See, as I said, there are 2 or 3 immediate objectives. One is to screen anyone who's coming there. In fact, illegal immigration needs to be controlled. And I think one of the important ingredients of controlling illegal immigration is to allow valid work permits. Because please understand, a large chunk of population from Bangladesh comes to work in India. And I think we need to have some system of valid work permits so that these people will come, they are accounted for, they work and they go back. If you don't have a legitimate avenue for coming, you will have illegal immigrants. And these illegal immigrants are the biggest source of this indoctrination. The second is all these madaris, etc. What is their curriculum? What are the books? What are the textbooks, etc. needs to be monitored. All the states must have some monitoring mechanism. And then finally, which is the major thing, it's to come out with a counter narrative so that the youth, the potential targets of indoctrination, are already exposed to this de-radicalization narrative so that this doesn't have an effect. And that is a very big time requirement, and that requires a very, very carefully calibrated narrative that needs to be generated, which will require a good understanding of theology, and using that, we'll have to counter radicalize.
Well, we